So I actually came across this article and the gears in my head started to spin. Now, to be honest with you, I should have probably included this material in the video series that I'm doing, which is called the Deep Analysis of the Federal Indictment against R. Kelly. But I just saw this article, or I saw the article a little bit earlier, and I just couldn't resist myself. I just had to make a video because I want to get your opinion. I want to know what people think, right? So I think the state is, or I think the state has a masterful strategy here, right? Because, okay, first let me just read the article. Let me just read this article. I'm actually going to read part of the article. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm just going to read a little bit of it, actually, right? So it basically just says prosecutor says more people could be charged in R. Kelly case, right? And it doesn't say that much more beyond the title, right? But I'm going to read it to you anyway, right? I'm going to read pieces of it to you anyway, right? It says more charges and more defendants could be added to the federal case against R. Kelly in Chicago that currently alleges child pornography and other crimes by the R&B singer and two associates, a prosecutor told the judge Thursday, right? Prosecutor Angel Kroll said a more far-ranging indictment could replace the charging document that led to R. Kelly's arrest as he was walking his dog in Chicago mid-July. She offered no hints about possible new investigative targets. And I think when you scroll down in the article, you come across some additional comments, and it basically she goes on to say that Kroll also requested an order protection or order protecting evidence and limiting what lawyers can say publicly about it. Media and Kelly fans have harassed witnesses, making them hesitant about testifying and leading one to quit her job, Kroll said. People who are brave and courageous shouldn't be subjected to this. Now, basically, the article doesn't say much more beyond that, and I'm not going to read it because it's not really pertinent to our video. But the gears in my head started to spin when I saw this article, right? And I'm going to get into it in just a bit, but first, let me show you another article. Now, this article basically says Andrea Kelly expected to be indicted by the feds in R. Kelly sex probe. Let me just say off the top of my head, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is real. I don't know if it's fake news. I don't know what this is, right? But again, I actually saw this, I think maybe a week ago, and I was intending to make a video on it, but I just never got around to it, just got busy with so many other things. But now, after seeing the other article and remembering this article, my line of thinking now, or the gears turning in my head now, is that the feds basically have this masterful strategy, or this strategy. You tell me if it's a masterful strategy, if it's a really good strategy. But basically, they have this strategy where they are basically, my theory is that they have this strategy where they are withholding pertinent information, right? You need to know who all the players in the game are. But their strategy is not to reveal these players until the very last minute. Let me know what you think. Questions and comments below. So when you look at the actual indictment, and I've actually started reading the indictment, and I'm going to actually give you my take and my opinion on what I think is happening. I'm going to basically complete my legal analysis sometime soon, but you can find a series of the legal analysis videos on my YouTube page. But basically, one of the things I noticed in this indictment is that they mention individual A, right? They mention individual A, individual B, and others, right? And then they also, I think they mention individual C, and I think they also mention several unknown individuals, right? So my thinking is, why would you just say individual A, individual B? So what I believe they're doing is that I think they're trying to withhold this information to the very last minute. I think they're withholding information and they're not necessarily mentioning people. As you know, in law, you basically have to disclose everything, but who says at what point in the trial this information is going to be exposed, right? So basically, they aren't mentioning the other individuals in this case because they are probably planning on indicting them, right? And they are going to probably use that indictment to get them to flip. Now, I would imagine that some of the people have already flipped, and that's why they basically have them set up to testify. But I would imagine there may be one or two people, or maybe a few stragglers, who they haven't decided whether or not they need that testimony, or the stragglers are basically holding out. So that's why they're mentioned as, individual A, unknown individual B, unknown individual, so on and so forth. To me, this just seems like a masterful strategy because basically you're going to have a situation where you don't know what's going on and you can't really protect yourself from people who could possibly flip because you don't even know who they're talking about. You know what I mean? I don't even know who individual A is, individual B is, individual C, so on and so forth. And the defense could probably say, well, it's got to be this person or that person, but they could be totally wrong, 100% wrong. And they could put a lot of time and energy spending their mental CPU cycles trying to figure out how to basically counter this person who could possibly flip, right? So, that's my theory. Let me know what you think. Do you think that I'm probably right? Do you think I'm on to something? Or do you think I'm just totally off and I'm just making something out of nothing and I'm reading too much into it? I don't think I'm reading too much into it because there is a specific reason why they're not mentioning people by name. It could be that they don't know some of the people, but I believe that they know exactly who they want to mention. They're just refusing to do so because they have a master plan to either flip them or indict them. Now, you just saw the article I read about R. Kelly's wife. She could possibly be one of these unknown individuals, or she could possibly be individual A or B, or so on and so forth. And they don't want to come out and say this too quickly because if they did, they know that she probably would have some type of advantage to wiggle out of it, right? So it's probably why they just didn't indict her right off the bat. Maybe they are trying to gather more information to basically put the nail in her coffin, or maybe they're trying to basically gather more information to make use of her in terms of putting a nail in R. Kelly's coffin. Everybody knows that she'll throw R. Kelly under the bus. She's already done it when she's come out in social media and she's said all these things about him rather. So I don't know. That's my theory. I think that they have a masterful plan to reveal all the players in this game at the very last minute or up into the point where they have to reveal them, and basically doing so will basically keep the defense guessing until the information is revealed. So anyway, let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments below. I really want to know if you think I'm reading too much into this, or do you think I'm on to something.